Welcome back, guys. It's Maury here, and today we are taking a look at crosshair placement. Specifically, I have 6 tips that you can work through depending on your skill level to improve your crosshair placement and ultimately get perfect aim. We're going to start from the very basics where you might be in iron, bronze, silver, and we're going to work all the way up to the top ranks, and basically you know where you're at and what you should be trying to implement next. But if you get these 6 fundamentals down, you will be shooting perfectly in no time. Alright, so the first things first is you want to try and actually aim at head height. Now, this comes pretty obviously, but a lot of people you won't notice, but you're actually running around looking at the floor like this. And then when you see someone, you have to look up, right? So what you want to do is practice basically aiming at head height. And there's lots of things on the map that give you indications as to what head height would be. For example, right here, you can see where I've just shot this line here. If someone was standing there, that's roughly head height. And you can also see, if you just look at my gun right now, if I'm looking at the floor, obviously the gun is pointing towards the ground. If I'm looking at the sky, obviously the gun is pointing up. You kind of want to keep it basically level, and that gives you a really good idea. So the first thing you want to do is just make mental notes as you walk around, like right here, the door, for example, head height. Then as you start to practice this more and more, when you're standing here, this line here, head height. So it's not like super obvious, but after a while, once you start just, if you play a bunch of death matches and you pay attention to where people's head height is, it's not on every single corner, but you'll notice there are a lot of indications to give you ideas of where head height actually would be. And then you can sort of work it out based on those things. Like any of these boxes, head height. So you can pre-aim this right here, knowing that you're at this, and that's going to be head height when someone comes around the corner. So we're walking around constantly looking for head height, trying to work out where the person is likely to peek from. And we're just constantly trying to have it at head height. As you see there, it goes up the stairs. So if I peek that angle again, I'm head height here, and I go up. And then when I hear people, I'm already at head height, so I don't have to adjust as much. So now that we've worked out head height, the next thing to work out is actually pre-aiming. Now this is going to be pretty basic for a lot of people, and I'm going to get to the more advanced tips in a minute. But for those that aren't aware, a lot of people, especially if you're iron, bronze, into the silver lobbies, you're probably peeking like this. What you want to do is actually, let's say I want to peek this angle right here, you want to aim it up through the wall like this, then step out. So I'm not actually moving my mouse at all. I'm purely aiming it, then stepping. Aiming, stepping. Aiming, stepping. So you're actually already aiming there, and all you got to do is shoot, because you should be on head level if you've practiced going around the map constantly looking at head height, and then you start pre-aiming through the walls. Like if I want to look behind this, I aim it before I step out. I'm not going, don't have my crosshair here and then coming across as I go out. It's through the wall, aim. So that's how you want to do it. To get used to the angles initially, what you can actually do is you can bring up your map and you can pin where you're practicing looking like this, and then you can simply aim, look, aim, look, aim, look, and you can kind of practice that routine to sort of get it stuck in your brain of how you should be doing this. Pre-aim.
Finished.
As you guys see, I'm aiming it up before I step around the corner, keeping it at head height, and we're pre-aiming the angles that they could come from. I'm going to get shot in the back.
Ended.
Okay, guys, so now we're going to be doing predicting enemy peaks. Let's say, for example, there are 3 separate peaks that you can do. I can do a standard peak where I peek like this, and I just come a short distance out from the wall. I can do a wide peek, and I can jiggle peek. These are the 3 main peaks that people will do against you. Now you need to learn to predict what they're likely to do, and it depends on whether you're holding a main angle or an off angle. Let me explain. If I'm holding a tight angle like this, waiting for the person to come around, most people will clear this angle, like they'll clear everything, and then when they get up to here, they actually do a hard clear like that. So they're likely to stop. So they're going to do a standard peek. If, however, let's say that I'm holding an off angle, like maybe I'm crouching here because I know someone's coming from B and rotating to A, they're not likely to step around like this and clear this angle because it's an off angle. They're going to be focusing here, and they're getting ready to come around and peek this. So if anything, they're going to be running out to this point to get ready to clear it, or they're going to be swinging wider to clear this back section. So you can predict, well, I'm on an off angle, rather than holding such a tight crosshair placement, you can hold it out here, knowing that the person is going to be swinging to, they're going to check this, they're going to check this, then they're going to check this, and they're probably going to come out a little bit further. And that's where you're here, and it's a wider angle that you should be looking at. All right, so tip 3 is predicting enemy peaks. Now, as you can see, I aimed a fair distance from the wall there because I knew he was going to run around like that. If someone is to clear me here, they're not likely to stop right here and clear this angle because I'm on an off angle. They're more likely to do exactly what that omen's done. So you want to be holding your crosshair further away from where it is. Now, someone knows I'm here on elbow because they can hear my footsteps. So if they were to swing me, it's going to be a tight angle like that. So when they know you're there, to hold a tight angle like this. When they don't know you're there, they're going to run wide like that. See how much further? So if I'm here, then I have to all of a sudden come across to here. You want to... Don't you dare knife me. So the 4th tip is called slicing the pie. Now, if I was to come out here and check this, you can see there's lamps, there's heaven, there's this side, and if I go any further, there's here. So there's multiple different angles that you can get shot from. What you want to do is get someone to hold you lamps, and then you want to start pre-aiming heaven, then here, then there, and then there. So you're basically taking separate steps, slicing these locations, only exposing yourself to multiple once you've actually cleared them. So it's okay that I've cleared myself to heaven, now I've cleared here, now I've cleared here, and now I have cleared here. So you want to do it one at a time so that if there are 2 people, let's say there's one in heaven and there's one here, I can kill the person heaven first, have this fight while this person still can't see me. Once I kill them, I can go back to clearing all the other angles until I've actually checked that everyone and every section is clear.
Next. Ready for me.
Now, obviously, when you're doing this in deathmatch and you're practicing cutting angles, there is a little caveat to it, which is you can clear an angle and then someone spawns there instantly, but it's still good habits to get into to actually check the angles. Even if you check it and then you get killed from that angle a second later, don't be upset. Like if someone comes back there in a second, it doesn't really matter if they kill me from there. Was that the guy I just killed? Did he literally just spawn me back to me? See, I was exposed to 2 angles there, which is not what you want. You can be exposed to multiple angles, but you have to have cleared both first. I didn't clear mid. So tip number 5 is angle alignment. Now, when you have multiple different angles that you can get peeked from, like this, let's say, for example, I am standing here. I can get peeked from here, here, or here. Whereas if I stand right here, I'm aligning those angles, so whether someone peeks me from here or here, it's this much of an adjustment. Maybe down a little bit. That's all you have to do. Versus if I'm pre-aiming here, and let's say I'm jiggle peeking like this, I'm waiting, and someone picks me from here, you see the correction that I have to do all the way across, versus a tiny little, I'll move it down to his head. I'll move it down to his head. Up, down, up, down, up, down. So by aligning multiple angles that you have to hold, this is going to help you out dramatically in games. And if you are in a situation where maybe it's a 1v1, you don't know where they're coming from, you don't have the luxury of a teammate saying I'm holding mid or I'm holding heaven, you want to try and minimize the amount of angles. I'm going to close myself off to this section and I'm going to hold 2 angles at the same time, and if they swing the 3rd angle, well, then I'm going to have to check it. But you're reducing how many angles you actually have to hold. Perfect angle alignment. No matter whether I get swung from straight here or straight here, I'm gonna get the kill either way just by literally sitting in this corner.
Goodbye.
I am completely exposed to mid here, but if I was in a one-on-one situation, you could see how if I hadn't got shot there, I would have got that kill because Viper has to cross my line of sight in order to actually attack me. So it's more for when you're in like a one-on-one or 1v2 and they're both going to swing you. You can line it up like this and make them actually both go for the exact same angle. For our sixth tip, we are going to be doing anti-crosshair placement. Now, as you know, people will pre-aim angles and then step out with their crosshair already at head height. So what you can actually do is get in certain spots, not necessarily off angles, it could be a main angle, but change the height of your head. So for example, if I know someone is going to clear this like this, they're going to clear here and then they're going to come around to clear here. This is an off angle where they've come here and then they're probably setting up to peek this doorway like this. So they're going to have this crosshair at feet height and then your head's going to be up here. So they have to go, oh God, and look up. So you want to try and throw them off as much as you possibly can. Another spot would be this box, for example. If I'm clearing this, right, I'm going to clear this angle here, and then I'm going to start moving up to get this shot right here. If you stand on the edge of this box, your head height is going to be about here rather than here. So they clear this, then they have to move all the way down to here to actually get you. I'll show you exactly what I mean. If I'm standing on the box like this, it's not an angle that they're going to be prepared for straight away, and if you pre-aim their head height, you can get the kill like that. Nice little angle like this on top of the boxes. They're not expecting it, so therefore they're pre-aiming all the way up to heaven right now. And if I just sit here like this, it's a spot you can get in a normal game, especially if you're in like a one-on-one or a 1v2 or something like that. It's going to allow you to get that off angle that you need to actually get those kills and basically break crosshair placement. See, Viper didn't even notice me then. See, came back, still didn't even see me. Killjoy wasn't aiming in the right spot even though she heard me. Not sure where she's going. See, now people are going to start to know where I am, so they're going to come around pre-aiming it like that. So you want to change up your locations. You don't really want to camp, but what I'm saying is if you know someone's going to swing you from this door, you could get up here rather than being down here like this.
One less.
Another one there. She's not going to be pre-aiming this spot right here, so what I'm doing is breaking the crosshair placement. Even though she knew I was there, and so did Brim. They're not sure where to put their crosshair because they haven't practiced this angle. So it's about breaking angles for people so that they are not actually prepared to aim at you. And even if they know where you are, it's not like they've practiced that angle like to randomly up here a bunch of times where they're just going to hit it like they would this angle, for example.
You lose.
Same thing, up on a box. Even if he had cleared the angle like he was supposed to, he was probably going to be aiming at floor height, not at the box height. Oh! Get the camera!